Coming up today on ciLiving, Mara from the refinery will be showing us some Zumba moves. I am going to try out Adam Sherwinski's job as a weatherman. And then later, Rebecca Strom from the Muhammad Library has some book recommendations for April, as well as information about events that are coming up at the library. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to ciLiving. I'm your host, Jaclyn Friedlander, and today I am joined by Ryan from the U of I Extension. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. Wonderful to be here.
All right, so I understand that today you have brought a gardening game for me. So how exactly is that going to work?
Yes, so today I have some gardening myths or facts, and I'm going to ask you to decide whether each one of these statements is a myth or a fact. And
okay.
These come from real questions we've got over the years at Extension, and they're just, with social media, with every other way you can get information these days, there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of misinterpretation of these facts or myths.
Facts or myths. All right, well, I'm ready. I don't always have the greenest thumb, but I'm ready to try and find out if this is why I'm killing my plants.
Let's get into it.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so is this a myth or a fact? Pruning should only be done in the summertime. So we're talking about woody plants, trees and shrubs. When is the time that you should prune those plants?
Okay, well, I would have said summertime, but a few months ago, I feel like you brought me trees and we were pruning in the winter. So I would guess pruning in the winter?
Yes, so that is a myth that pruning should only be done in the summertime. It's better to prune in the wintertime because our woody trees and shrubs are dormant and we take away less of their energy when we do our pruning cuts in the wintertime. So the reality is lots of pruning happens in the summertime throughout the year. So not to say you couldn't prune a little bit in the summertime if there's that limb that's right in your way that you're bumping your head on.
Right. But
when you prune an entire canopy of a plant, you do take away a lot of energy. So to do that at the least energy intensive time of the year, which would be in dormancy in the wintertime, is the best time to do it.
All right. Well, because of you, I got the first one right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, what's the second question?
Okay, the next question is large pebbles in the bottom of a pot do not improve drainage. This is a common practice. A lot of us do. We put coarser material in the bottom of a pot to improve drainage. Does it improve drainage? Does it not? What do you think in this case?
Well, I guess it would probably depend on what kind of pebbles. I'm going to say it probably does because of what tiny bit I know about aquaponics. So my guess is that's a fact.
Well, surprisingly, it is a myth.
Okay.
This isn't really common. In this case, the way it's phrased, it's a fact.
I see.
That it does not improve drainage. And this is really counterintuitive to lots of us. I used to do this for years, but the pebbles actually create what we call a perched water table. So that finer medium that is your planting, your soilless medium that the roots are growing in, where it meets that coarser medium with bigger pore space, it locks the water in there. It doesn't, like some of that water that drains through gravity obviously drips down in, but then the soil matrix holds that in place in that upper portion of soil. So when you add that stuff to the bottom of your pot, you actually reduce the rooting space that's available there, and it's actually a bit of a problem. So you'd be better off to get the right sized pot for your plant as opposed to adding any of that drainage material. But the thing that is correct about this is we do want good drainage in a pot. And so you want drain holes in the bottom to pull that moisture through.
To make sure that it's going through. All right, perfect. And what's the next one?
Okay, so next up, you should always stake a tree when it's newly planted.
I mean, that seems logical.
Hold the plant up.
I feel like that would be helpful.
So you think fact or myth?
I think fact.
You think fact? Well, actually, this is another one that's a myth. You should not always stake a tree. So I've put some of these words in here to be a little tricky, like the always type of word. I mean, that's a little bit of a giveaway here on this one. But no, we really don't want to stake a tree unless we have to. And the reason is, as that trunk develops, it sways in the wind and it starts to put on wood fiber in different places to protect itself, to support itself. So when you stake a tree, you take away that natural movement and you make it reliant on the stake. And I've seen people take off a stake that's been on too long and the tree flops over.
Oh, interesting, because it gets reliant on it.
It just doesn't build up the trunk strength. So really, if I'm staking a plant, it's just because right at planting time, it might want to topple, and I'm worried about that. But within the first year or so, I'm really wanting to start to wean it off of that and take those stakes off so it can start to build that natural strength and resiliency to the wind.
Perfect. Well, this is a really fun game. I think we should play more of this after the break. So we are going to come right back with Ryan in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.